It has been amazing, the fact that we are near record highs, bonds low, the yields moving lower. There just seems to be no real losing trade despite coronavirus. Is it going to continue?
Well, I agree with you. It's been a surprise because we know there's an economic ripple effect from the coronavirus, and we're seeing it with Apple. But I think the reason U.S. stocks have been so resilient is because it represents the global safety trade. So for now, I think that's actually, kind of a good best case scenario. We got Feds, central banks accommodative, the potential for fiscal stimulus. The U.S. stocks are underweighted globally, and now people are trying to buy the S&P, and there's not enough of it around.
How exactly could the U.S. markets be underweighted globally if there has been such a massive move higher in these markets over the course of the past year? You'd think that the percent allocation would have risen because of these record highs in stocks.
Yeah, I would say based on our conversations with our clients, many of which are global managers, they were betting on a mean reversion trade that outside the U.S., stocks are cheap. Most of the Europe, Asia are value markets, but their PEs are much lower. And so I think people went into 2020 expecting a mean reversion trade, overweight Europe, Asia, and now they're all reversing that.
So is there still a hope, I guess, is the best way to put it, for a mean reversion trade? I know what you're saying because I've spoken to a number of experts who have all called other developed markets more of a value than the U.S. markets at current levels. So will that play out in 2020? And if so, what exactly is the catalyst to get that trade going?
Yeah, it might eventually play out. Our recommendation at the start of this year was to overweight the U.S. because I think that the visible economic resilience is much greater in the U.S. We have a great consumer economy. I think we've got good government regulation, and economic growth has been accelerating, plus it's an election year. So I think it makes sense to want to overweight U.S., and I think without the coronavirus, there probably was a non-U.S. trade developing. I think that's kind of reversing now.
All right, so Apple shares near record highs right now. They're pulling back 3%. That's not insignificant, but it's, again, a stock at record highs. This is all with a coronavirus warning. NVIDIA did the same thing. A lot of companies have done the same thing, yet it's not really traders are shrugging it off. Why?
Well, I think it makes sense to really see some impact, but not disastrous, because, unless the coronavirus allows the creation of a competitor to Apple, which we don't expect, Apple's still going to be Apple, but we might have a bumpy quarter or two. And so I think anyone who holds it would be either adding to it here or, I wouldn't be a seller. So it makes sense to be shallow.
So is there a thought process now that when the coronavirus, because it will get resolved, it's just a question of when it does get resolved, that all of that slowdown in economic activity gets all of a sudden pushed right back to where it was before, and maybe even more so?
For the healthier economies, certainly. I think the problem is, when you get slowdowns like this, there's a lot of vulnerable businesses and economies that actually enter financial stress. So I think financial stress is the thing that's going to cause contraction. And there's probably ripple effects. So I don't think it's like 1 month, 2 months, and we're all in the clear. I do think people have to cut earnings estimates this year.
Your duties also involve watching cryptocurrencies as well. We know that you have a huge part of your business looking at that. Bitcoin pushing back above that or towards 10,000 again.
Yeah.
Is this a move that is sustainable, and should people be looking to get into it, or is this now maybe overextended?
I think Bitcoin was up 90% last year. I think 2020 it should do even better because we have the halvening coming. We've got some geopolitical risks, both with the virus and with political tensions. And I think Washington is less focused on crypto this year. So, Bitcoin back above its 200 is really a good sign.
Do you have a target for the end of this year?
We don't, but typically once you break above the 200-day moving average, the average 6-month gain is around 197%.